What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is a TV show catch-up video where I'm talking about some shows that I've been watching the last couple months and have finished. This is, of course, first-time viewing. And the reason why I didn't do individual reviews for these shows is because I truthfully didn't really have too much to talk about with each individual show, which is why I'm just combining them in one video. And this will be spoiler-free, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers, and I'll be talking very briefly about each individual show, giving my rating, and then moving on to the next show. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you've been watching the last couple of months, and also be on the lookout for my Banshee review. I'm almost finished Banshee, and then I'm almost finished Sons of Anarchy as well. So those two shows, I will be doing individual reviews for each show, so stay tuned for that. But guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So kicking things off, I did indeed watch The Penguin with Colin Farrell, and I was a huge fan of The Batman. I thought that The Batman was one of my favorites of 2022. It was a very moody, atmospheric, really good film. Even though it's almost 3 hours, I did not feel the length at all. It's a really good film. So naturally, I was curious about a Penguin TV show. And I have to say, I originally was planning to watch it week to week, but it ended up being the type of show that the first couple episodes I watched week to week, and then after that, I didn't. I just put it pretty much in the background of my mind where I was like, yeah, I'll get around to it. And I think it was right before the finale was when I had to binge watch several episodes before watching the finale. And it's a solid show. I can see why so many people love it because it does take a lot of influence from The Sopranos for sure. And it's got really good makeup, really good performances. But I don't know. I found myself struggling with the show personally in terms of the story, in terms of the pacing, the dialogue. I just also really wasn't interested in with what it was saying or attempting to say. Thematically, I think it's episode 3. Thematically, that episode was intriguing, but everything else, I personally just was like, okay. And again, I'm saying that as someone that does like the gangster genre. Like, that is a genre that I have a lot of admiration for because a lot of times they're using it to critique like capitalism or other stuff along those lines. Here, you can make an argument that it is to an extent, but it just really wasn't something that felt unique. And I'm not saying necessarily something that has to be unique to be great. I'm saying that for me, watching the show, I just struggled with. So again, not a bad show in the slightest. I think it's solid. I can see why there's a lot of love for it. But for me, it's a solid show, and that's why I'll be giving it a... Next up, we have the franchise. This is the show that, similar to The Penguin, is on HBO Max. And the thing with the franchise is that, on paper, similar to The Penguin, I should love it. The fact that this is a show that's from one of the creators of Veep. It is from the creator, Sam Mendes, who's one of my favorite directors. He directed American Beauty, wrote British and Skyfall. And it's also critiquing the superhero genre and the filmmaking industry of said genre. So on paper, I should love it. But in execution, it's very, very generic. There's nothing really that stands out about this show. It's one of those things where, again, I wanted to like it. I really did, but I thought it was just okay. It really wasn't engaging. Like, I get it that there's a lot of jokes and everything that are, in the industry and everything. And those are jokes that I did pick up on, but it just didn't really land for me. So I'm hoping that if there is a second season, I am hoping that the writing is much better and the character work is much better. But as it stands, I thought season 1 was just okay. And yeah, that's why I'll personally be giving a... Next up, you thought I had not much to say about the franchise. Wait until you get to this one. So the next show I saw was Cobra Kai, which is, I think it's season 6, part 2. And similar to part 1 of season 6, it's okay. It feels very much so... I hate using this word, but it does in many ways feel like filler. Where the story is constantly spinning its wheels, trying to figure out with what it wants to say that already hasn't been said a billion times in this show. And that's the thing. I've come to realize that this is a show that I liked the early seasons back when it was on YouTube as opposed to Netflix. But those days are gone. Now it's pretty much a lot of rinse and repeat of the same thing that we've seen before. And don't get me wrong, I'll be watching part 3 because I am kind of curious how they're going to end it, even though they're technically not because they're making a Karate Kid movie. But I'm very curious to see how they're going to end this, because as it stands, part two, it feels like a middle chapter of a season for sure. But even on its own, it doesn't really stand on its own. And even as the greater sum of its parts of, the series as a whole, it also doesn't really stand on its own. So it's just one of those things that it's there. It's there on Netflix, but that's about it. It's okay. It is what it is. So for me, Cobra Kai, season 6, part 2, I think that's what it is. I'll personally give it a. And last but not least, we have Detroiters. So this is a show that stars Tim Robinson, and I never heard about this show until one of my friends, shout out to Mike Townsend, he was the one that said I should watch it, and I had it on the back burner of my watch list, but I finally got around to watching it, and I have to say I liked it. I thought that a lot of episodes were solid. Some episodes were good. There was a lot of laughing, I will say, throughout each season. There's only 2 seasons, but I liked it. I think that it did its job. The performances, the 2 leads and their chemistry is really good. The humor worked for the most part. There were some times where the humor was a little too juvenile, but at the same time, most of it did work for me. And even if I didn't always laugh out loud, I chuckled from here and there, and I also had a smile on my face. So I liked it. If you have Netflix, I would definitely recommend watching this. It's something that, especially if you like Tim Robinson style of comedy, something like I Think You Should Leave, I think you'll like Detroiters for sure. So that's why for me, Detroiters, I'll personally be giving a. But hey guys, those are my quick thoughts on those 4 TV shows. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on if you've seen any of these shows and what your thoughts are. Again, I don't really have too much to say about these 4 shows, and that's one of the reasons why this video is so short. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below of these shows. Did you like them? Did you not? Do you feel kind of indifferent to them? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also, if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the subscription, notification bell, follow me down on Letterboxd, Patreon, and I will catch you guys later.